Time to round up a big story from the week. Should Houston police officers be outfitted with high-tech body cameras? Right now, the department is taking part in a pilot program to test the cameras on about 100 officers. Chief Charles McClellan wants to expand it to all 3,500 officers over the next 3 years at a cost of about $8 million. An HPD spokesperson says as of now, there are no current plans underway to fund the effort to equip every officer with a device. Civil rights activists hailed Chief McClellan's support as a victory for transparency. But should the city spend the money, or should other more pressing needs come first? That's our topic this half hour. We want to hear from you on our Fox 26 Facebook page. You can also weigh in on Twitter. Be sure to use the hashtag Fox26for Life. In our newsroom again, we have our legal analyst Chris Tritico, our news analyst Mustafa Tamiz, and public policy analyst Jackie Bally. All right, good morning, guys. This really it was put in the forefront after the police shooting in Ferguson, Missouri, when you really saw more and more calls for these body cameras.
Well, look, I think it's a great idea. In my criminal law practice, I can't tell you how many times a year I hear from a person I'm representing. There we go. There I am. Oh.
That was scary.
I can't tell you how many times I hear from a person that I'm representing that what the police are saying happened at the arrest is not what happened. And in the police, there's allegations of police brutality. They were talking to me in this way. Here's the question they ask. If you get these cameras and they're recording everything that happens, you're going to get a clearer picture of what happens at these arrests. And that's going to protect the officer from a wrongful claim of abuse. And it's also going to protect a citizen from a police brutality claim if, in fact, it happens. So I think it's a great idea. The question is, Jackie, how do we fund something like this?
Right. I agree. I think it's a great idea, too. And other cities like Oakland and Detroit who have done these pilot programs, they've seen that the number of complaints have been reduced, and they felt that residents and the officers felt more safe. And it is the wave of the future. This is where we're going to go, but funding for it is quite expensive. One alternative has been suggested to just upgrade the cameras in the car cameras. But that would be maybe $500,000. So that's pretty expensive too.
And that doesn't get you what you need.
So a lot of people are saying that would be a compromise because technology is much better than what it was whenever car cameras first came out.
So where do we go with this?
Well, the police budget is $800 million a year. We're talking about $8 million over the course of the next 3 years. So I know it sounds a lot, but at the same time, it's a very massive budget. And
are you suggesting the police department could find it within their own budget?
Well, it's $800 million budget. We're looking for $8 million in the next 3 years. I'm not saying that it's easy, but if you put the numbers in perspective, it's doable. And I think the chief is handling it the right way. Is to phase it in, is to do it with 100 officers, learn from that, and then phase it in over the course of the next 3 years.
All right, let me go to Sally. We'll come back in a minute. Sally's monitoring our social media.
Yes, we are getting some tweets in from our fans on Twitter this morning. Chris says, I totally agree with police having body cameras for everyone's sake. Tony has the opposite side of the story. He says, police body cameras, how would you like your workday recorded? I fear no one will want to be a cop. And he also adds that it's a great idea, but he doesn't think the technology is there yet. Battery life, for example. So he sort of is a little wishy-washy on this subject, I think. But that is a concern. I don't think the batteries last more than maybe 4 hours on these cameras.
That's right.
Well, there's a way. There's a way to charge those within your car. That's really that can be dealt with in a matter. But let me answer the first problem. How would you like your workday recorded? When your workday necessarily involves the civil rights of everyone that you encounter, then we have a right to know what you're doing. Period. Jackie?
Well, I think unfortunately when you have instances like what happened in Ferguson, you're going to have more discussions like this, and the Houston police chief in particular, he's trying to prevent and be proactive.
Right.
And so I think a lot of us are applauding him for those efforts. You are going to see not only with the police officers, like our viewer was just saying, but you're, again, in some of the pilot programs, some of the residents were complaining that they felt that it was an invasion of privacy as well. But unfortunately, that is something that we're going to have to look at, and the risk we're going to have to take in this kind of position.
One of the issues involved with this is the officer has to be proactive and turn that camera on. And I can tell you, I've tried several cases where they turn the camera off in the car. I want every one of those cases.
And that's going to be, I think we're going to have to change the way we try cases. We're going to change the way we police, and that's the whole part of this is that whatever we're doing is not working because we're losing the confidence of the communities that we serve. And in the police business, if you don't have the trust of the people that you're serving, you've got a giant problem. And that's what we're seeing happening across the country. And this is a good, strong step to prevent that from happening.
All right, we're going to leave it right there. Sally, we'll be back in the next hour with two really good topics.